I'm ready.
Your dream is your immunity. We can't achieve security, peace, without dealing with historical injustices. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I take that our thought for food and food for thought again. Without dealing with that thought for food and food for thought, welcome you to today's edition of Open Forum. And you know we are running a series because we are very intentional about repositioning Akwa Ibom State and Nigeria, and indeed mankind. So we are very intentional about how we can have Akwa Ibom State to be independent of oil or crude oil money. So we've been running stock taking and agenda setting for an Akwa Ibom without oil, crude oil as my guest. Today, I said, we have to mention crude oil when you're talking about oil because we have other oils. We're going to talk about one of them today. So, on this edition, which is the 14th edition, we are going to look at the agriculture sector and the health sectors and how to turn revenue potentials to realities. How much are we making from the health sector? Do we even have the infrastructure to start making money? We'll find out if you don't know. How about the agricultural sector? It's very wide, but today we're going to be specific about the oil palm, maybe coconut as well, where oil can also be extracted from. And we're going to look at how we can turn those potentials to realities. And on what we call state of the state and state of the country, we'll be looking at the controversies over establishment of Sharia court in southwest Nigeria and the rejection of the proposal for the establishment of ecclesiastical, that is Christian court, which is for Christians. We'll also look at His Excellency Governor Moino, who is being celebrated widely within the state and in the country, and is picking up awards left, right, and center. And we call it Ribbons in the Sky of Nigeria for Governor Moino. And then, in the midst of it, we have critical socio-political matters arising. You just wait for it. And then lastly, we will have, that is on state of the state and state of the country, we will have areas of interest in Akwa Ibom State 2024 budget performance, which has been placed at 79.1%. There are some controversies there, and this is a town hall where we discuss issues without any partisan or any feeling of trying to bring anybody down. We face issues because where issues are involved, nobody is important. Otherwise, we may live to regret. And so, we'll do what we know how to do best here. We'll bring out the issues, and we just take a bit of analysis. Most of the time, we do our podcast where we can have more time to deal with issues. But we're going to mention what is trending, having to do with the performance of a private state budget, and that will be it. So, without wasting time, well, waiting for our live studio guests to come around so that we do the introduction before I'll put a call across to Vienna, where we're going to speak with the other guests I'm going to introduce after we take the advocacy for last week. You know how time flies. We are now in 30 minutes, almost about thereabout, into our 1 hour. Last week we finally scored a hat trick by hosting a former Attorney General of Akwa Ibom State, who has been with us on 3 occasions. And if you know Barrister James Essien, you bear testimony, bear witness that he is an He was here with us where we looked at a number of things, particularly having to do with still how do we help Akwa Ibom State, and it's about that. We also talked about the issue of accountability, where NACAT, being run by Fejiro, Victor, or whatever his full name is, or Benero, or whatever, that controversy is bringing discord to the state, as people in support of Mr. Dame Emmanuel, who's been accused of having not been able to account for 1.5 trillion, and then alleged to have looted himself. In fact, it's ungodly for anybody to serve and not want to give account. You don't even have to wait to be prompted. You don't need to get people to want to defend what they should not defend, because it's going to further expose certain persons as not being able to be useful except for doing or being attack dogs or doing dirty jobs, as they will say. So accountability is a biblical injunction, and we want to believe that the accused will have whatever it takes to go and defend himself. And those fanning the embers of ethnic division should cease forthwith. And I personally added that some of the kind of talks and the kind of mentality brought in, it would be at risk to allow such persons to even cross the highway, because it's impossible that some persons can think the way they do and they're able to cross the road. We also talked about the personnel audit, and we have said that we will have preferred an independent audit firm to have handled that, not the same team that have been paying salaries and overseeing the activities there. But be that as it may, whatever be the outcome, until people, the ghost workers, there's nothing like ghost workers, we settled on that. It is just a Nigerian factor, another name for corruption, because those are managed by officers. The people, the MEAs where the ghost workers are found must be named, the ghost workers' names published, the number of years, how much has been taken, those involved, and punishment must be meted to them. Otherwise, we're just going in circles. And until that is done, that exercise is inconclusive, as it is actually. We know that about 2,000 and a little over 2,000 are said not to have reported at all, whereas about 6,000 have issues. They reported, but issues are trying to reconcile. So for now, we cannot say they are 2,000 ghost workers, as some people are saying, until we get the report. And that report must show where they are found and who are responsible for keeping those ghost workers, and then those monies they have been collecting over the years must be returned. We also talked about local government autonomy. Well, we said local government autonomy, there's nothing like that. That term was wrongly used because it's interwoven with the state. And this is a federation. So a lot needs to be done, but above all, the Akwa Ibom State government should do something about adjusting itself to the realities. Otherwise, if it keeps on being business as usual, we may end up being embarrassed. Seriously. On Anambra State, state homeland security law, where if you are a spiritualist, you can make somebody to make money or do this. If you are caught, it's a very serious matter. And then we have arrived at what we said, our guest said, that it will go in conflict with the constitution, where some people worship doing sacrifices, because if you throw something into the river or keep something on the road and you are caught, you'll be tried. It's an offense. But traditional worshippers do all those things as part of their worship, so how do we marry that? caution should be taken. And lastly, we hosted Ekerebong Ekwere, visually impaired. He's a master's degree student at the University of Uyo. He needs assistance for a bioptic lens, which costs $2,000, and then he needs 600,000 financial assistance to complete his program. But guess what? Another visually impaired person heard the program because we gave out the Ekerebong's number. Onodion Hussein, I think he's from Itemeko. He's also a master's degree holder. I think until he studied in Mudika, I couldn't call him before now. He donated his reading aid. I learned he had two, brand new. He donated it to Ekerebong, and we want to say that this is something that is rare, and it's something that we hope to possibly we host an audience someday, because we cannot imagine that a physically impaired person who is from, like we say, Anang extraction could reach out to his big brother to assist him. So those with sight, those with abilities, who are fanning embers of ethnic or tribal divisions should be embarrassed at what they are doing, going by what Onodion Hussein has done. I will speak with Onodion Hussein, and we hope to have him on this program because he's a model. Having said that, we want to go straight to one of the discussions that I'll have to take before I'll put a call across to our guest in Vienna. I'm hoping that he's joining us because we are streaming live now on Open Forum with Citizen NKO on Facebook, and we're also streaming live on Memories 965 FM also on Facebook, and this Memories 96.5 FM can be received anywhere in the world on Radio Garden. So I want to believe that our guest far away in Vienna is following us, and so please, if you are doing that, Doctor, we'll soon introduce you and we'll bring you on. But before we go into that, we want to look at one or two things just very sharply, because while waiting to you to put our acts together, we lost some valuable minutes, but we're going to gain it because we're going to add speed to whatever we are doing. Having to do with areas of interest, areas of interest in the Akwa Ibom State 2024 budget performance as released by Policy Alert. Policy Alert is a civil society anti-corruption body, and they have been spot on virtually every issue they have brought to the fore, because they don't generate data. They get information from government sources and just analyze it, and by the time you look at it, if you are open-minded, you may be able to make sense out of it. What the items, I won't be able to take all of the items, but I'm just going to take a few from what they published. They call it Niger Delta Open Budget Snapshots. And they have a particular item that's raising controversy. Has to do with the budget for the maintenance of the state private jets, otherwise called governor's private jet. The budget for that very exercise for 2024 was 8 billion. But 40 days to the end of the financial year 2024, 12 billion was added as extra, bringing that budget to 20 billion for the maintenance of that aircraft. Another item of interest to us has to do with the budget for provisions for Ibom Community Watch and security equipment. The budget was 1 billion, but it's been reviewed by 6 billion, making it 7 billion. We want to leave it at that, but Open Forum did analysis of the items that Policy Alert took up as being areas of interest. And we discovered that some new items that were not in the budget were added. And the total amount, from what we summarized based on what has been put out by Policy Alert, we've seen that 14.77 billion happens to be the additional amount that the state government as added. They were not in the previous original budget. On the reviewed budget, all the items that monies have been added to the initial budget, we have added that up, and we have 22.16 billion. The old budget, the budgetary provisions contained in those areas of interest, the old rate was 13.2 billion. And then when you put everything together, it comes to 50.13 billion. The area of interest happens to be the private jet and even community watch to us. And then there's also the plotter machine for digital printing studio for the Ministry of Housing. We understand that that is gobbling 3.6 billion. 3.6 billion. It was never in the budget. And then a commentator who says he's in the know of how much that machine should cost is saying that that studio, that machine is about 1.3 million. I don't know how far that is true. $884. That he does not know the quantity or maybe the make. That amount is pretty on the high side. The important thing we have to note as analysts is that on the third quarter, Akwa State government have been doing quarterly budget breakdown. They have been doing that religiously, even if they have issues and you have to pick holes and all of that, but they do that religiously. As at October 2024, the Commissioner for Finance, Linus Khan, gave the breakdown that the performance of the budget was 26.9%. And we had a budget surplus of 528 billion. The money was there, they didn't know what to do with it, as in they did not expend it yet, but they said one of these monies will be paid for jobs that are going to be done in the fourth quarter. And when the governor dissolved the cabinet, there were issues on performance of cabinet members which did not allow these monies to be disbursed as they should have been. But be that as it may, between October and January, the budget performance left 26.9% to 79.1%. That is whopping. We don't want to go into those details, but we are letting you know that those are the issues at stake, and we are interested because it's raising controversy, and we will follow up because our desire is to help His Excellency to be able to deliver on the mandate that he has promised. And any issue that will make that not to be possible, we will do everything possible to ensure that we come with our own views, because we are non-partisan and we are here to support the administration. Having said that, a very quick one has to do with the Governor's Award. It's been given Governor of the Year and different. He has written about 4 awards. I don't want to read them out because of time factor. And the last one by This Day and Arise TV, where he made very profound statements which I want to read as a matter of priority, because there is something I noted which I wasn't really comfortable, and I need to draw attention because I don't know, one Emmanuel Nicholas on social media posted this while giving praise, acknowledging His Excellency as having honored his angel. He wrote, "I would sooner cast aside my armor of greatness than witness anyone belittle my guiding light." He attributed that to Pastor Moino. Not actually, it was not said there, but he captured that in his article, and I go on to quote what he said. He said, "I shall not bear the crown of glory were it not for his unwavering faith in me. Had he not found me in my moment of despair, I would not stand here embraced by the accolades of this international media organization. If he had turned his back on me when the world sought to disqualify me, I would not have risen to my current stature. Were he to have believed the slanderous accusations cast by my own brothers, I would not be seen today as the governor of merit in Nigeria. If he disowned me in the face of men's judgment, I would not bask in the recognition I enjoy now. Though names were hurled at me, he remained steadfast, undeterred by the vitriol. Though I once descended into the depth of shame, burdened by the weight of my skin's hue. Yet he beheld the gold that lay hidden within depths of my complexion. While the world pondered what he saw in a horrible man such as I, he discerned a potential ignited by divine grace. And he heeded the folly of mere mortals, the distractions of men would have surely cast me aside. Yet here I stand today, a king molded by God's hand, on earth by Deacon Udom Emmanuel, my pillar, my guide, a visionary who gleams within me what others could not perceive. I dedicate this trophy of my glory to you, for though I may not merit it in the eyes of those who sought to disqualify me, you accepted me wholly. No one deserves this honor of this award dedication more than you, Deacon Udom Emmanuel. That is attributed to Pastor Mo, speaking at this day, Governor of the Year award presented to him at the Cool Hotels or the Cool Holiday in Lagos on Tuesday, January 28, 2025, quoted by Emmanuel Nicholas in a social media article titled, When Omoino Honored His Angel. No time to analyze that. I leave that to you, but there is something that we must note, and that is to the fact that we must at all times protect leaders by bringing out things that will add value and will cause them to be seen in the true light. And by that, we'll be able to put things in proper perspective, because I shared that with a friend and he was wondering, was I going to God or to man? But here it is, it's in public domain, and because it's important we bring out all this, His Excellency actually dedicated the award to the former governors, but he singled out former Governor Udom Emmanuel for the special accolade. Having said that, we want to say that still in the line of that, His Excellency has done something that has not been done before openly. He has sort of endorsed His Excellency the Senate President for election, because he says whosoever has been able to rise to that level should be supported, and ensured that since if you send another person, that person may not be able to go and be Senate President. So you must play your politics, making concessions. You kneel where you're supposed to kneel, stand where you're supposed to stand, and all of that. That's a very strong statement politically. Quite see this PDP, national, where Senate President, former Governor Godswill Akpabio, is in the APC. But like some people say, we run the APC in Akwa Ibom State because you hardly hear the voice of the opposition. And if His Excellency is talking like this, people want to hear the leaders of the APC also talking the way His Excellency is talking. Like we used to say in our local parlance, you fall for me, I fall for you. Otherwise, we may be in for a shocker that we could have a sitting governor of the PDP give so much support to the Senate President, but would there be reciprocal gesture? Is it also politically advisable at the extent that we are going? Whereas some aides to the governor and even some others are trying to pitch the Senate President with the state, particularly that this the state, the government, Fabio is the one sponsoring the petition against Udom Emmanuel, because according to them, their target is the governor. That is why we say some persons may be difficult for them to cross the road. And we have actually said, yeah, the Senate is probing the disbursement of the derivation fund, the project that were done in host communities, and they attribute that's a ploy by the Senate President to get at Udom Emmanuel and indirectly to Omoino. And we have said that it is statutory for that committee in the Senate, combined committee or joint House committee, both Senate and the House of Host Communities Development, Oil and Gas. So if they have projects to inspect and you say they should not do their work, it is a pity. It's quite embarrassing. And that is something that is nothing to write home about. That was even one of the resolutions that we arrived at. Having said that much, I just hope my guests, oh, awesome. Awesome. As I was speaking, our august guest just walked into the studio. We will introduce him, and thereafter we'll put a call across to Vienna, because I'm sure our man in Vienna has been waiting, but we needed to take other matters, and because it's also important for our live studio guests to be part of the conversation, we have to just play with time. On Open Forum, every second counts. So even if you hear us say anything within 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, it's just enough. We couldn't have said more, except you wanted to just be entertained. So we have in the studio right now a man that I would not have the time to introduce him as I would love to. But since my meeting with him, we have bonded so very well enough by the grace of God that he is one of the members of the Eminent Citizens Advisory Council of Open Forum. He is none other than Bishop Professor Azaya Umana. He is the chairman, CEO of Redemption 101.5 FM Abak. He's a Christian leader. He's an author. He's an agriculturist. Some may not know this, and most know him as a professor of broadcasting and international relations. Welcome to Open Forum with Citizen MKO, Your Lordship, as I called you.
Thank you very much, MKO.
You are most welcome, sir.
Sorry for the lateness.
I understand you are not late. We were communicating, but just that Johnny Messes, you are here. Thank you so very much.
Bless you.
Yes, because you are here, we'll be able to manage whatever time we have. I want to introduce our other guests who was supposed to have been here, but because he has a fellowship matter in Vienna, he arrived in Vienna yesterday, and we talked. He's waiting to join us. Please get the stand ready. We're going to put this on. His name is Dr. Akaninyene Ubom. He is a specialist registrar at the Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospitals in Ile-Ife, Osun State. He is president, World Association of Trainees in Obstetrics and Gynecology, WATOC. He is a member, International Federation of Gynecology and Obstetrics, VIGO, Committee on Childbirth and Postpartum Hemorrhage, and also is a member of Scientific Program Committee, SPC, for the VIGO 2025 World Congress. I was blessed to be linked up to this young man whose profile, when I asked for his brief profile, I was sent a 25-page brief profile, and when I further asked, I said I wanted a brief one. How come this is 25 pages? So if I'm asking for the full, what would it be? I learned it's going to be about 40 pages. He is a product of the University of Uyo. Unbelievably. At a very young age, he is leading the entire world in the medical profession, the area of his specialty. And I'm trying to reach out to him. I hope he is there to join us, and that will be wonderful, because we will just take him on certain issues. It is ringing. Oh, awesome. Please get the... we have him. Yes. We have you here. Let's get this out. Can you hear me?
Very well, very well.
Beautiful. You're welcome to Open Forum with Citizen MKO. And then we have time constraints, because it's not really easy to use 1 hour to do the kind of things that we do. I would have loved to take your very long profile, but tell us, you are very youthful. You graduated, I think, 2013, and you are leading the world in your area of calling. So please tell us about the inspiration and the secret of your ascension to the global world in medicine.
Good morning, MKO. And as you would know, I'm a very proud son of Akwa Ibom, an alumni of the University of Uyo. I graduated there in 2012.
Okay.
And yeah.
Hello.
Inspiration is a training. You know, we were trained to always be the best and aim for the best. So proceeding from there, I proceeded for my residency training in ONG at the Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospitals Complex, Ile-Ife.
Okay.
And completed that training last October, becoming a fellow of the West African College of Surgeons, Faculty of Obstetrics and Gynecology, with special interest in women cancers. So basically, why the choice of ONG, Obstetrics and Gynecology in the first instance? Is because from medical school, I had always had the intention of contributing my quota to the advancement of women's health globally. And then I identified that there was a significant area of need in terms of women cancers. Women cancer care is not incorporated in the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Okay.
There is poor awareness. Screening is not widespread. So most of the women present late and in terminal stages. So because of that, I took a very special interest in women cancers, and I have gone on to do fellowship trainings in women and gynecological cancers variously here in Vienna. I just arrived yesterday for another of such trainings.
Okay.
So basically, it is just interest to care for women. That is inspiration.
The inspiration is quite deep, and your ascension is phenomenal. And I want to take you on possibly just two topics. First is that President Donald Trump of the United States of America has cut off AIDS, medical AIDS, particularly funding for HIV and AIDS and malaria, and that is going to put not just Nigeria but other African countries in dire straits. We understand that the American government has put in over 72 billion in AIDS to about 180 countries, and for Nigeria they are putting $1.01 billion for health and education. Now, as a medical expert, what would be your recommendation to your Akwa Ibom State government, Nigerian government, in fact ECOWAS, AU and every other African bloc? What should they do? Should they declare a state of emergency to see how they tinker with whatever budget they have to be able to address this funding gap? Otherwise, the about 1.9 million people living with HIV/AIDS, we are going to have a pandemic. So, what are your thoughts? You can do that maybe in a minute, because we are trying to just bring out solutions.
Yes, there is no doubt Trump announcing the withdrawal of U.S. funding for HIV is a significant global health issue, being that many HIV positive patients are on treatment funded by the U.S. and other similar donors. But for me, I think that while we are debating this, is also an opportunity for every country, every state, every region to look inward and see how they can self-sustain and self-fund the healthcare of their women. And in this regard, I must say that the governor of Akwa Ibom State is doing excellently well. In fact, from the creation of the specialist hospital in Uyo, and you are also aware that in the New Year's speech of the governor, he said that in 2025, the specialist hospital will be run as a standalone hospital like Ibom Air. And also, the state ambulance service will be launched. This is in addition to the ARISE health insurance scheme.
Wow.
And then there's also for the medical tourism, so-called the medical corridor,
yes,
run from specialist hospital to the Rafias in Ikorekbene. So this is an example of how political leaders or how governors will start looking inwards. Frankly speaking, the enormous resources that we have, we can solve our problems ourselves.
Let me do this.
So I think,
hello, doctor.
Start looking inward.
I'm so glad that you are so current, because in my notes here, I took the exact quote of His Excellency. He said, Ibom Specialist Hospital to be converted to a standalone medical facility by 2025. similar to how Ibom Air is run. To flag off medical village along the medical tourism corridor between Ibom Special Hospital and Rafia City, Kodekbene, the governor also announced plans to formally launch the state ambulance service. And you picked all of this. You are very versed, but let's do this, please, because of time. When the Ibom Special Hospital was commissioned, within 2 years, it failed. The Cardio Care Medical Services Limited that provided services there withdrew their services. But that place was said to be better than any teaching hospital in Nigeria. But here we are. We cannot generate any revenue. Please, in a nutshell, what is your thinking? What will be your recommendation? How can we make, not just to announce these lofty programs, by the time they are put down, Ibom Special Hospital was constructed at 41 billion, according to the then Commissioner, Popo. Not even 30 that people were speculating. So, what will be your recommendation? We are looking at Akwa Ibom without oil. How can the health sector draw the necessary funds, both in hard currency and local Nigerian currency, to Akwa Ibom State?
Well, I wouldn't say that the Socialist Hospital failed. I would rather say it has undergone several metamorphoses with the overall aim of making it better. Don't forget that when the hospital was established, it was one of its kind in the country. So there was little or no precedent to act on. So yes, it has undergone a lot of administrative changes, a lot of facelift and all. So that is the way I would like to look at it from the positive.
What's the way forward, sir? Because we don't have revenues from there. They don't reflect in our IGR.
Well, the governor announcing that the hospital will be self-sustaining and running like the Ibom Air, it's a right step in that direction. So I would rather say we should give it time, and then in 2025, when the plans of the governor comes into fruition, then I am very sure that that hospital will be generating the much needed IGR that should accrue from Akwa Ibom State for that very lofty project. It's a project that all of us we should encourage from anywhere.
In our private talk, you told me that there's no greater service than service to humanity. And here you are, serving Obafemi Awolowo University, teaching hospitals. You are there in Vienna. I don't know which country you are moving to from there. Supposing you have opportunity to be called upon to serve in Akwa Ibom State, or you have whatever you can bring down to Akwa Ibom State, will you be willing to be useful to your state of birth? Let's take that as a parting shot.
One of the reasons why I've not left the country is because of my passion to give back to the same society that made me. So at any point in time where my people feel my services are needed, certainly I am going to make myself available. Because even from this vantage point, even from all the while I've been outside of the state, training outside, I have never forgotten my roots. In fact, as we speak, we have formed what we call the Uyo Women's Research Group, which includes some residents and specialists in ONG from even the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital. So what we are doing now, it's a think tank. So we think of currently, we are running what we call the Respectful Maternity Care Global Survey. So we are trying to look at how can we improve respectful maternity care, and collaborators and co-authors to that paper, because we are going to publish our findings. We'll include
let's do this, doctor. Let's do this.
I also have
hello, doctor.
Application that I've also put with my teachers and trainers in Uyo. So of course, I am always willing to give back to the University of Uyo, to Akwa Ibom.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Open Forum, actually, about a month ago, while we were hosting distinguished Professor Hilary Young, we raised an advocacy that some of our best brains across the world should be assembled by the state government to see how we can harness, not just to honor them, but see how they can bring something back home. We want to thank you so very much. We'll host you once again. We'll have more time to talk. We run our podcast. We hope to make sure we project the kind of grace God has given to you, just like we do for other people. And I want to thank my brother Mawon Bikan, who stays in Rivers, stays from here. He's one that linked me up to you. We've never known, and because we are looking out for the best, we have to bring you here. So thank you so very much. We want to get to Professor Bishop Isaiah Omana to see what we can just make out of the few minutes that we have. Thank you so very much, Dr. Obum.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
My pleasure. You continue to follow us on the program. Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah. That was Dr. Akaninyene Obum. He is from Padenin local government area, and he is doing exploit globally. I did not have time to read out just excerpt of what he's been doing, but you've heard, and it's something to write home about. He is still following us on the program, and I want to come to His Lordship, Bishop Professor Aza Omana. People know you as a communicator par excellence, but the day we had a talk and you told me something that has to do with your having been an agriculturist, I started as that, and this program, you're not here to talk communication or broadcasting. You actually own a radio station. I've been there. I've participated in your book launch, which is one of the greatest book launches I've ever attended or maybe even seen, where the crowd, the hall, massive hall, couldn't contain people. The governor was there, deputy governor chaired, and all of that. That book that you launched called The People's Right to Know. Let's start from there. Just give us a peek into that very book and what you have been doing weekly on radio. I've been part of the People's Right to Know program, and I have some of the tapes. It's a must listen to. Please, sir.
Thank you, Amkero. The People's Right to Know, the 2 volumes,
Yeah.
volumes 1 and 2, takes on issues about Nigeria. And in those volumes, we try to see or prescribe how Nigeria can be better. We love this country.
Yes.
And because we love this country, we make contributions as to what we need to do to change for the better. The structure of this country is lopsided.
Okay.
The leadership is not very good. And rather than throw the child away with the bathwater, we believe that we can make useful contributions to this country by bringing about ideas, both historical and contemporary, as how to make this country better.
This is what we're going to do. We are saddled the responsibility that it's impossible to be able to extract even 0.1% of what we can get from Prof today. I will appeal to him that we are going to host him again, but then, talking about the structure, Nigeria is supposed to be a secular state, but there's a Sharia in the north. And just 2 weeks now, there is the move to establish Sharia court in Ekiti, Osun, and Oyo State, which even the governor is kicking against, but even the Sultan says you must be tolerant, you need to have it. And we recall that one House of Reps member or senator had raised the issue that we should also have a ecclesiastical, that's Christian court, and it was kicked against even by the Muslim leadership that no, what we do, you don't follow us to do it. If you want that, we are going to ask for Wednesday as a public holiday and all of that, because you have Sunday and Saturday. In a nutshell, as a religious leader, what would you say is the risk we are facing that in a secular state, we have Sharia in the north, and now it's creeping to the southwest and may end up in the south and southeast? Very briefly, sir.
Well, it may very well be so. You know, if you look at the current constitution of Nigeria, you have Sharia mentioned at least
Several times.
And you have Sharia courts, you have Sharia judges. You don't have Christian courts, Christian judges. Nigeria is a secular state, or supposed to be. Yeah, but since Nigeria was surreptitiously taken into the organization of the Islamic State, a lot of things have been happening. And our people down south are very tolerant people.
Would that tolerance not lead to something nasty?
Well...
Okay, let me give an example. The current move to have Ministry of Livestock, one of the agencies made an announcement 3 weeks ago, and we raised the alarm here. They said the ranches in the 774 local government areas will come with Islamic schools, which means there's the possibility of establishment of Islamic schools, which will have to bring Islamic teachers, will have to bring, where they go, they want to come with their court. Is that risk not enough? What has the Christian body that you belong, what have they done about moves like that?
Well, those moves are very surreptitious. It's not the only move. Remember, waterways were going to be taken over.
We were on it together.
Good.
You were there with us in Open Forum.
Good. So there are a number of things. When I say tolerant South, it started from 1914. The South is supposed to be the beautiful bride, serving the gentleman, the elegant gentleman from the north.
Terrible.
And in most cases, when Nigeria was contemplating independence, the meeting of 1950, National Constitution Draft Committee of 1950, and there was a storm in the teapot, and the storm was about representation. The North demanded 50% of representation in the federal legislature. The South kicked against it, the North. The North said, if you don't allow us to have 50%, we'll quit the country. Now, rather than allow that to happen, the South demurred. The colonialists supported the North. And we've been having, that's why, in fact, up till today, Nigeria cannot have a valid census count, because every count is disputed. So until Nigeria stands up, like Switzerland, like former Yugoslavia, like United Kingdom, this country can be one viable country, either as a federation as it's supposed to be. The Constitution says the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But nobody, the 1999 Constitution was not drafted by Nigerians.
That's right.
It was a military constitution that Nigerians had nothing to say, but it's been serving us.
So we call it military decree.
It's been serving us, and we try all kinds of amendments. The problem with Nigeria is that leadership has not been able to say this is right and this is wrong. And this is what we need to do to have the right thing, to have one country, Nigeria, serving the needs and aspirations of all nations of Nigeria. Nigeria is a multinational country.
Let us do this, Your Lordship. I want to make an appeal. On the 10th, we are going to have a guest, by the grace of God, we're going to host Captain Augustine Okun, the
ADC man.
the chairman of ADC Airlines. And we may likely, if we have his approval, we've also appealed to the MD and CEO of Akwa Ibom Investment Corporation to oblige us his presence so that we look at the investment opportunities in Akwa Ibom State, because Agricorp is a one-stop shop. So depending on what we are going to agree on, I want to please oblige me, because we cannot talk about agriculture today because of time. It's very important. We can't also talk about something that's very critical, which is what His Excellency said about Akwa Ibom religious pastors or ministers who said they prayed into power and unhappy that they're not getting appointment or contract, and they want to pray him out of power. It's not something we're going to rush over. It's something that is very important to us, because we want to see the governor succeed. Wherever we have great areas, we'll correct. So can you promise our guests that if it's possible, we could have him back next week, or the upper one, whichever one comes first?
I'll look at my diary.
Okay.
And I'll give you a shout.
I thank you so very much. That's been the size of Open Forum with his name KO today. Remember, the issue on the front burner is how we can make Akwa Ibom State what we call the Akwa Ibom Dream, which we flagged off, and His Lordship was there, and that is to make Akwa Ibom State like running as a country, a first world state in a third world country, because we have everything, and we cannot do that except we look at each area discreetly and see what best we can bring, and we will continue that. We do it intentionally. If you want to support this program, it is paid for. Let's not even go how it is done. It's a miracle that we are on air. Our number is 0802 757 7497. Next week, by the grace of God, when we sort things out, we will do the promo as usual, but we're going to be very much time conscious so that we can arrive at where we are going. So thank you so very much. My name is Citizen.
MKO,
Yes.
permit me to say that Akwa Ibom is on the rise with their rise agenda.
Absolutely. That's what we are doing here. You're going to hear more very deep talks of consequence. My name is Citizen Matthew Kofi O'Connor. I'm a property advocate, I'm a reformer, and a citizen with extraordinary drive of patriotism. See you in our next edition.